Now, the next session is comedy. You have to pay to go and see Nick Doody. He's here, and many of you, if you do frequent the comedy clubs, you might have seen him. But Nick is well known. He writes for BBC4, Late Edition, Channel 4, 8 out of 10 Cats, Friday Night Live, and it's quite well known. I'll give you comedian Nick Doody.
Thanks. Hello. First of all, thank you all for coming. Thank you especially for Marion for this unique and terrifying opportunity. I had no idea what to expect walking in here. I just thought, are they all going to be ex-Muslims? I'm not an ex-Muslim, or if I am, that means the Buddhists are right. No, I know what to do. Also, if you do not want to be filmed, there is always the option of wearing something that completely covers your face. That is something we could do. I'm not an ex-Muslim, but I do know what it's like to reject a faith. I was raised Catholic, very Catholic. I have a brother training to be a priest, and he doesn't even like kids. I don't want to offend anyone. They're a very traditional family, I should say, as well. When I was about 7 years old, my Uncle Terry hanged himself in our house on Christmas Eve, and my family wouldn't take him down till the 6th of January, which is, you can go too far with traditions. But I don't want to cause I slightly do sometimes want to cause a bit of offence. No one should, appeal to everyone. But I do realise that you can reject a faith and still things stick in your head. And I know that, having been religious now not religious, I have a friend who's Jewish but doesn't believe in God but still won't eat bacon. And if you know people like that's a bit like, eating your greens just so as not to upset Popeye, as well as I can. And I know there are going to be some people here who once were Muslims and aren't, but still you feel uneasy about depictions of the Prophet, and I'm the same. As I say, I don't believe in God or that the Pope has any infallibility, but still occasionally still get the urge to work with the Nazis. I had the thought this morning in the shower that I hope's funny, that religion is a bit like an enormous dog. If it's yours, you like it and it gives you comfort and you think it's friendly, but it terrifies the hell out of everyone else. And the very least you can do is keep it away from children. That one's a keeper. It's very important. I mean, politicization of Islam at the moment is very important. We're just on the verge, perhaps, of having the first Muslim president of the USA, which I know that's not true, but if you watch Fox News, you won't know that. And possibly, if McCain wins, we're one heart attack away from having a woman who doesn't believe in dinosaurs as the head. That is truly terrifying. How can you not believe in dinosaurs, yet still hold all your other views that are prehistoric? It's quite amazing to me. As I see it, mental illness is essentially something with strength in numbers when it comes to religion. Religion is mental illness with strength in numbers. And I should have said that the other way around, first time. I have all these bits of paper, but I've only written on one of them, and it's very small writing. I know someone who, growing up in Kentucky, when about 17, was put in a sanatorium by her family because she wanted to marry an atheist. It's absolutely true. It's my ex-mother-in-law. Can you imagine that? Be put in... No, it really is. I can't say mother-in-law in a comedic context without even laughing. She genuinely had to spend half a year in a mental institution. Imagine being put in a mental institute because you're not hearing voices. But when you're the only one in the village not hearing them, you're mental, right? That's how it works. Religion and mental illness are so very close together. You can even a religious person will admit, if you just twist the most normal religious idea, it becomes universally accepted as insane. Like prayer. Prayer is essentially, and it's quite a normal thing to believe, there's an invisible being can hear your thoughts. You go that one extra step of trying to stop an invisible being hearing your thoughts with the use of baking foil, suddenly you're insane, right? So if you've got religious beliefs, whatever gets you through the day, but you're one tinfoil hat away from the nut house. I do think that Islam is a legitimate target for satire and for ridicule, pretty vicious, if you like. And it's sometimes that's a controversial issue. It's very hard, to see how it equates to Christianity in this country. The way people feel about it is that it's easy to see how Christianity is a legitimate political target or a target for satire because it has power. There's the head of the national church is also the head of the Church of England, and the Queen, a non-elected head of state. We've got bishops in the House of Lords, which that has to piss you off. Every time you see someone go, here's what I think about stem cells. You go, oh, you're a scientist? No, I'm a man in a dress. Well, I don't care then. And yet, religion always acts like it's attached. There's so much privilege that Christianity has in this country, and yet the moment you have a go at it, they say, we're being attacked. Every Christmas this comes up. You're going to start seeing it now in the Daily Mail. Or they're taking the Christ out of Christmas. I know you're just reading the letters, but in my head, that's how the voice sounded. You know, the sort of thing, well, we had a nativity play in my school, and my son was asked to play a robot. Well, that wasn't really Christmas. And you go, well, nothing, but there's about 70 kids per class now. There's only so many characters in the story. Let him be a robot. What's it to you? There was a fuss last year about, it was MPs sending out Christmas cards that didn't have Jesus on them. And you go, well, how can you get upset about that? It's not been banned. You're allowed to send them with Jesus on it. It's every time you tap the power. I imagine, what's that? Look at that. It's a robin. It's the most Christmassy of all creatures. It has natural levels of Yule, unlike any other creature on Earth. You have to put mice in tiny waistcoats before they're even close. And yet that's the way they go. I find that amazing, being upset at getting a Christmas card without Jesus on it. You get upset when you get a birthday card without your mother's vagina on it? Bit of a tester line there. Well done, well done. I think the kind of litmus test for public opinion is the veil. And I'm kind of split about how I feel about the veil. Right? On the one hand, if anyone's forced to wear the veil in countries where women have to cover themselves in public, that's obviously wrong. I find that amazing as an attitude towards women and towards men. I've seen Muslim men on the news interviewed say about the veil, well, would you leave meat uncovered before dogs? Whoa, thanks for that. We all come out of that pretty well, don't we? That's an amazing view of both men and women. I find it amazing. These countries where women have to cover themselves, also alcohol's illegal, which I find is, apart from I'm a pretty heavy drinker, but I have friends you need to keep an eye on at a party. Well, I don't know anyone I wouldn't trust to have half a pint of shandy or see a woman's face. That's a little bit rapey. Yeah? That's like the entire male population of Saudi Arabia just going, I know what I'm like. I just know what I'm like if I have a pint of booze or see a lady's chin. It is rape, 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 and can't be stopped. And then her brother will have to kill her. On the other hand, it's surely a human right to wear the veil if you want to. No one should ever be forced to wear the veil, but anyone should be allowed to, including me. Yeah? I should be allowed to wear a balaclava if I like. But if I then get a job in a bank... You see where I'm going with this? I shouldn't be surprised if the boss asked me to take the balaclava off, and telling him that an invisible being wants me to keep it on isn't good enough. You can go, no, I was told to by pixies. Cashier number 4, please. You can't do that. One of my favourite stories of the whole of the last 12 months was the Sudan teddy bear crisis, man. Because that's so ludicrous. The gloves are off, right? There's no being on the other side of that. You go, oh, no, you've got to respect that. But no, you don't. It's a teddy bear, right? You don't get warned about that in the Lonely Planet Guide to the Sudan. Always tip 10% and don't name soft toys or you might get the lash. What, That changed my holiday, I think, if I read that. I felt sorry for that poor woman, Gillian Gibbons, because it wasn't her fault, right? She didn't name the bear. It was the children in her class who gave the bear that name. And they were from the Sudan. They knew what they were doing. Do you remember when you're that age, you're at school and you get a new teacher, substitute teacher, doesn't know the rules? You screw with them mercilessly, right? I remember a day at school, a woman comes in, hello, I'm Mrs. Warburton, I don't know any of your names. I think we're going to have new names today. I'm Thor the Magnificent, this is Superman Weetabix, and here's our friend Cuntifuck, which you have to pronounce like that, otherwise it's racist. It's amazing, man. And there's people who wanted to behead. I usually ask about this point in my act if we have any Muslims in, because the thing is, I don't want any part of that BNP bullshit racist attitude. You know, like, yeah, bloody Muslims, tell them to take their mosques back to Moscow. You know, that thing. No interest in that. But you don't have to be racist to take issue with a set of beliefs, right? It's pretty obvious to me. Those people who wanted that woman dead, she must die. I've met people like this. I grew up in Bradford. I've been on anti-war demos next to young fundamentalist male Muslims. You know, it's predominantly young men. I don't know if you've met these people, but there is a vibe of sexual tension off them, the like of which I mean, I was raised Catholic and I recognise it, but I diverted mine into guilt and chess. You can't be 17 with a beard down to here without some serious backed-up semen and frustration pushing that out, man. Sometimes I read stories about young men exploding in the Middle East. I don't even think there's a bomb involved half the time. The pure pressure on the testes. These are the people I mean, who I saw on the news in the Sudan. She must die. You go, well, why? She insulted Islam. Not on purpose. Don't know if you've noticed, if you wanted to insult radical Islam, it's not the hardest thing in the world to do. You wouldn't do it like that, right? You wouldn't go out and name a bear, then stand back for a couple of months to see what happened. Be more direct. Crotchless burqa. I'm just saying, if that was her agenda, she could have done crotchless burqa, riding a pig round the centre of Khartoum, shouting out in her best Arabic, here's my pig, we're engaged, he's uncircumcised, gay, and he's Danish. His name's Islam. Here's my minge. See if you can guess what I've called that. Begins with M. You're not going to like it. There is a move. There genuinely is a move by some people trying to introduce Sharia law in this country. And you can talk about bowing to political correctness all you like. It's just never going to happen. We drink on a level in this country that will never... It's not possible. Go to Liverpool city centre on a Saturday night. Those women are covered up, but it's in orange makeup. It's never going to happen. Yeah? I did a gig, it was about 2.5 years ago. The London bombings had just happened, and I was in Canterbury. And I was talking about it a lot because in the press there's a lot being talked about, and a lot of bullshit in my opinion. I don't like being told what to think, but even less I like do I like being told what I think already, which is what the press did after the bombings. I don't know if you recall being told how defiant we all were for going out our daily business. You know, like everyone does under the threat of bombing, you do what you have to do, right? You just get on with your life. It's not defiant. No one got up the day after 7/7 and go, well, I'm showing you Bin Laden. Say, this Al-Qaeda, I'm off to Tesco for minimum wage. Doesn't work like that. That was the front of the Evening Standard. People packed into a commuter train and just went, London goes to work defiant. No, they don't. London goes to work nervous, slightly racist in a way they didn't used to be, with a whole new interest in rucksacks. How it works. But I'll tell you a story this couple told me after this gig. And it just sort of sums up why Sharia law will just never work in Britain. They were in London on 7/7 and they were visiting it for the first time as a couple. They didn't know their way around and they were on Tavistock Square, not far from here, when the bus exploded. They saw it happen, pieces of bus landed next to them. And of course, they were just rooted to the spot in fear, didn't know what to do. Looked around for anywhere they could go, see the first open door they find, and find themselves inside a pub. Right? Now, I don't know if they knew it was a pub. I'd like to think they did. I'd like to think it's so ingrained in our national psyche that that's where you go in an emergency. Oh my God, what happened? Oh my God, look at that, we're under attack. Okay, stay calm. What do I need? What do I need? What do I need? Come on. Stella. Kind of Stella, please, landlord. Actually, make it 2. There's a war on. I'd like to think that, but I don't know. What I do know is that the only other person in the pub when they walked in was the landlord. He's at the glass because he'd heard the explosion. He's looking out, and when they walk in, he said, come in, come away from the windows, sit down. I have an electronic till. I can't legally take your money, but here, have a pint. Stay calm, stay sitting down, stay safe. And then more and more people started to wander into the pub until it's really quite full. But then here's the clincher. 45 minutes later, an armed police officer walks into the pub, checks out the situation, and then orders the landlord to keep serving everyone for free. That's why Sharia law will never work. Because the official emergency response to a terror attack on the capital of our nation was a lock-in. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
He's a funny guy. Thank you, Nick. How was that for a warm-up? Okay.